So this would be obviously part of where the natural gas is coming in.
Yeah, correct.
At the height of last February's winter storm, the City of Denton's power plant was running at full capacity, burning natural gas to make electricity. Then officials claimed the plant's natural gas supplier cut them off without explanation.
When I was informed by my folks, my jaw dropped.
Plant manager Antonio Puente when we talked to him in April 2021.
The next thing that happened that we didn't anticipate was that many components of this facility began to freeze.
That right there, those are the radiators?
Those are the radiators, yes, correct.
But what happened at Denton's power plant is really an issue for all Texans. It's one of 13 black start power plants. That means if the state's power grid fails, as it almost did last winter, black start plants will be critical to jump-starting the grid and making sure millions get their power back on.
How do we ensure security of a fuel source?
A few weeks ago, we talked to Puente again, and he still doesn't know why his power plant lost its gas supply.
Until we have some alternate fuel source or some other mechanism to keep our plant operational, it will be in the back of my mind, can it happen again, not knowing what the root cause was.
A year ago, we reached out to the plant's natural gas supplier, Enterprise Products of Houston. The company did not respond at that time. But now a company spokesman disputes Puente's story. He says the gas supplier never cut off the plant's natural gas. He says the Enterprise pipeline maintained sufficient pressure to supply Denton throughout the event. In such a he said, she said scenario, it's difficult, if not impossible, to know what really happened between Denton and Enterprise. You see, no regulator is in charge of getting answers.
I move we approve the examiner's recommendation.
What about the Texas Railroad Commission? Don't they regulate oil and gas in Texas? They do, but commissioners say this type of situation does not require oversight. That's because it's a private contractual matter between a business and its customers who officials say should be planning ahead for disasters.
Thank you, Chairman.
Here's how Commissioner Jim Wright described it at a November commission meeting.
Let me give you an example. Chick-fil-A is not required to be open on Sunday. That is a business decision made by the owner. If you want to eat a Chick-fil-A sandwich on Sunday, you're going to need to buy it in advance. The same is true for natural gas.
Others disagree and say power plants can't necessarily protect themselves solely by private contract.
The difference is, as much as I like a Chick-fil-A sandwich, I would not put it in the category of providing essential services for health and human needs, as the natural gas industry does.
Former Power Grid independent monitor Beth Garza says in many cases, power plants can't choose who supplies their gas. Denton is among them.
They're beholden to a monopoly provider of an essential service. To pretend that there's a contractual relationship where both parties are on even footing, in that situation, it's a fallacy.
Nearly half of the state's power plants run on natural gas, and all of those power plants are overseen by what's called a market monitor.
We have to find out a way to make sure that that natural gas will be provided and will be provided at a reasonable cost.
Brad Jones, the interim CEO of the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, which manages the electricity grid, wants to create a similar independent market monitor over natural gas suppliers to power plants.
I see them like the cop on the beat. If you have the cop on the beat, everyone feels more secure and comfortable that their rights will be protected.
A recent dispute between one of the largest electricity providers in the U.S. and one of the largest gas pipeline companies is a case study. Records show Dallas-based pipeline company Energy Transfer threatened to cut off gas to 5 of Luminant Energy's natural gas-fired power plants in a fee dispute. Only after Luminant filed a complaint with the Texas Railroad Commission did Energy Transfer pull back on its threat, saying it will continue to provide daily sales service as usual.
It takes something like an independent market monitor to be able to look at this information without having a stake in the issue and make a decision who was in the right and who was in the wrong.
Oil and gas industry officials argue that they are different than electrical providers and don't need similar government oversight.
In oil and gas, we are very highly regulated for safety and environmental reasons, but not for market production reasons. And the reason why is because there are a variety of buyers, all of which use it for different purposes.
Instead of tougher regulations for the natural gas industry, the Railroad Commission asked lawmakers to require power plants to negotiate better contracts with gas suppliers. Jones says in some cases that doesn't make financial sense. It could mean even higher electricity prices for customers and lead to the closure of power plants that typically only operate during extreme weather conditions, when demand for power threatens to overwhelm available supply.
There must be something that we develop that makes sure that the electric generation gets the supplies they need in a cold weather event, because that is important to preserve human life in our state. And we shouldn't take chances with that.
In a statement, Todd Staples, head of the Texas Oil and Gas Association, said, "Lack of information and lack of natural gas is not the problem. Lack of pre-planning and pre-purchasing on the part of power generators is a problem." Critics say that if the natural gas industry continues to resist oversight and can't be counted on to supply fuel to make electricity in extreme weather conditions, it may be time to rely on a new fuel source.
If the natural gas system wants to continue to operate as they have, and maybe they'll be there when it's cold and maybe they won't, then I think on the electricity side, we need to make different choices about our fuel sources.
In Dallas, I'm Tanya Iser.